Hi you guys, how is it going today? I had to come on camera because like today was a pretty frustrating day, and apparently I don't really have like that many real friends to like actually vent to. So I'm glad that I have this YouTube channel because today I am going to do a little bit of venting, and I'm going to try to give you guys some advice that I had to like learn the hard way, and hopefully like it'll be helpful for you guys. There are a lot of things that like have happened, and like I could have made videos about, but I didn't because like I don't know, I thought that it would be going too far or whatever, and like I didn't think it would be like appropriate to like talk on the internet like about people in my life, which I still think that like I'm not gonna name names, but I realize that like at least I have the right to be able to talk about it, and I have the right to be able to like vent about it, and like in a space that I feel is safe, because like I realize that there's no point in like protecting people anymore because apparently nobody, or like most people that are close to me in my life, they don't feel like they have the same responsibility to me to protect me and to like defend me and to like just be like a normal, like reasonable, to be like a have like a healthy relationship, to just have like a regular healthy relationship with me. People don't really feel like the obligation that like they have to like put the work in, and that they have to like sacrifice even like a small bit of something. They don't feel like they have to do that for me. So I realize that like why am I like protecting people? Like why why can't I come on camera and be honest and vent? Why? Because like I'm trying to protect people who like apparently like don't really care about me. So that's the point of this video. Like I'm not gonna be naming names, stuff like that. It doesn't fucking matter anyway. But I just want to like kind of vent a little bit, share my story, and like kind of help you guys, because I see this happen, not with just me, but like with other people as well. Total strangers, like people whose conversation like I overhear like outside, like my friends, my families, and it's just like enough is enough. Enough is enough. I don't even know where I'm gonna go with this video, but it's gonna be kind of like a stream of conscious. The first thing I want to say is, if you take nothing from this video, I want you to take the fact that people who belittle you, people who judge you, people who you don't feel supported by, people who you feel like anxious about sharing good news with because you think that like they're gonna like feel a type of way about it, or like they're not gonna be super encouraging to you. People, if you're trying to like do something, start something new, starting new ventures, and like they're not giving you like all the support that they can give you, even if it's like a lot, even if it's a little, if they're not even like, if you create like an account on like an Instagram page and like an art account, and your friends have Instagram and like they don't even give you a follow on the art account, stuff like that. If they can't do like small like little things like that just to support your dreams and to give you encouragement, if they can't do that, if you have lofty goals and lofty dreams and they can't help but like kind of pull you down and like kind of like bring you back to like the real world, not in like a helpful way, but sort of like in like a, I mean, it really depends on like what you consider helpful, but like I think that to become successful, at least in this world, you kind of have to like go for it. As long as like you're not harming anybody, as long as you're doing the best you can, just go for it. And there is so much negativity in this world, and there's just so many like things working against you, that like at the very least you should expect your friends to have your back and to like not be the ones who are pulling you down, and not to be the ones who are like discouraging you. So if you can't even expect that from them, what else? If you have to deal with like snide remarks, if you have to deal with, maybe they're not insulting you, but someone else is insulting you, and like they don't defend you, they don't take up for you, but when it's time for you to defend yourself and when it's time for you to call somebody out, they don't have your back either. So it's just like, okay, so like when this person, not even that they don't have your back, they think you're being dramatic, or they think you're doing too much. So it's like, okay, so this person gets to talk crazy about me or to do whatever they want just because we're all friends. But when I try to defend myself, like I'm the one who's like doing too much, and I'm the one that needs to keep the peace. So people like that, what else? What freaking else? And this goes for family too. This is not just friends. This is family. This is coworkers. This is anybody who you are around. If they make you feel guilty for trying to live your life and trying to expand your horizons, expand your social, expand your circle, for if they try to make you feel guilty for not making enough time with them, not hanging out with them, like, yes, you should balance time with your friends or whatever like that, but at the end of the day, like, if you are trying to like grow your life and grow out of where you currently are, no one has an obligation for you to be tied down to them. Like, you have your reasons, and if you want to continue that relationship, you can, but like, nobody should be making you feel guilty for it. If they judge you, if they assume the worst in you, if they always assume if you're doing something new or something is happening, if they always assume that like you're not prepared, or like you need them to like tell you what to do, or like you're gonna get into a bad situation, stuff like that. And also, apart from that, if they're just lifestyle, if the stuff that they say to you, if their values, if their morals, if how they view situations and how they view stuff, like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, it could be like things like religion, politics, like social issues. It doesn't matter what it is. If there are things that are core to you and who you are, and these people, you don't feel like they align with you in that, and like they say things or they do things that like you would probably never do or feel, just because like that is so unaligned with you. If you have people in your life that fit any of these criteria, regardless of your relationship with them, distance yourself from them or just cut them off entirely. I'm telling you this right now because there is no, I had to learn this the hard way. Almost 30 years old, I had to learn this the hard way. There is no like, today was like kind of like my final straw, like high key, because I'm realizing that like there is nothing in this world that you can do to, I guess, I don't even know the word for it. I guess to sum it up, to change other people, I guess, like, if people are mean to you, if people belittle you, if people bully you in front of people, there is no amount of being kind to them. There is no amount of killing them with kindness. There is no amount of understanding them. There's no amount of anything. And again, this one goes especially for your parents or your family in general. There is no amount of anything that you can do for people to treat you differently in a substantial way. Because what I've known for a while, and I keep trying to tell people, but like nobody really seems to get it or believe me, should not have to teach people how to respect you and how to have respect for you on like a human level. Like, I don't know how to say that in any simpler way, but like, you should not have to teach someone, especially another adult, how to be respectful to you. Like, kids, sure, you have to teach kids because they really don't know better. Like, yes, kids have like tend to have like their own sort of like internal compass for right or wrong, but like most of the time you kind of do have to teach kids. When you're an adult, you should know better. You should have enough of an understanding of how to interact with people that like you're not repeatedly violating people's boundaries, regardless if they tell you or not, just because like that's not something that you should just be doing anyway. Like, and it's like, and I say it and people always try to push back on me because it's just like, they're like, oh, like, how do people know your boundaries if you don't tell them, yada yada. Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be a certain amount of misunderstanding, whatever, because like, of course we can't read each other's minds and we don't know exactly where everybody comes from, but there is a certain baseline level, and you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. There is a baseline level that comes with human decency and human respect that you should naturally attain as you get older. And if a certain age comes and you do not have that, there's something wrong with you. You're like, I'm like narcissistic, whatever you want to call it, there's something wrong with you. And it is no one's responsibility to educate you or to explain anything to you. If they don't want to deal with your bullshit anymore because they have other shit to fucking deal with, or if maybe they don't have other things to deal with and they just don't feel like dealing with your bullshit, they don't have to deal with your bullshit, right? Like, and I don't understand like why that's not like a more widespread view. I don't know why in this society that like we are taught to coddle and to fucking keep protecting and to keep fucking trying to understand these fucking assholes. Because the thing is with assholes, they don't fucking do the same thing to you. They want you to understand them. They want you to get where they're coming from. They want you to see that like they say everything out of love and they do everything out of love. And they want you to apologize and you to take accountability, but they will never do the same thing for you. Nobody, and the thing is, they won't do the same thing for you, and for some reason, the people around you do not expect them to do the same thing for you. And that is the crazy fucking thing. Like, so yeah, anyway, I say all that to say, if you take nothing else from this video, take that. Take that fact. Don't try to change people. Don't try to change yourself. You have a standard of how you want to be treated and how you want to be respected. And if people do not align with that and people do not understand it, even if you do have to kind of make things clear for people to make clear, that's what I think too. Like, I'm the kind of person where it's just like, I don't really believe in that necessarily. Like, I don't necessarily believe that, like, people should get leeway if they do something like quite disrespectful to you because they didn't know better. Like, maybe that's for you guys, maybe that's for all of you, but like, I don't necessarily believe that. But if you do believe that or whatever, and the thing is, I did believe that at one point in time, and I still do actually, but it's still up to you at the end of the day for you to determine where you're drawing that line in the sand. Like, you could draw the line anywhere you want. You could have drawn it 20 years ago, and people kept violating. And now today, one small thing happens, and then you're done with it, and that's perfectly okay with you. And that's perfectly okay, period. Because there is no, like, point where you have to, there is no, like, you don't have to just keep taking shit. And it doesn't have to be, like, this major big event that happens, or like they don't have to like say something crazy about like your fucking parent. It doesn't have to be like that. It could just be the fact that like they repeatedly violated your boundaries, whether they knew it or not, and you just don't want to deal with it anymore. And that's as simple as that. And you don't have to explain anything to anybody, much less like the fucking person who did it. That's my introduction to this video, and that's like my first like where I'm starting off. If you do not agree with what I say, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to hear, oh, but sometimes people grew up hard life, whatever. I grew up with a fucking hard life, okay? I don't want to hear any fucking excuses. I'm over it. If you want to believe any of the excuses, go the fuck ahead. I don't give a fuck. I'm just telling you my truth. Anyway, so now we're going to get into some specifics, because all of that is fine, but like I kind of just want to give you guys like specific things. Let's start with my family. Let's start with my family, the people who started it all. How do I say this in like a way that like is not unnecessarily mean? The people who raised me are probably some of the most incompetent, stupid, ignorant, foolish, useless people who currently exist on this earth. Yeah, I don't really know how much to say about that, because like I've already said so much. Like, I don't talk to my family anymore. Well, at least I don't talk to my father, my mother, or my grandmother. My grandmother, my dad's mother. I don't talk to them anymore. So a little bit of background from me. I have a few siblings. I grew up living with my dad and my grandmother, and my mom and my dad separated when I was young. My mom went somewhere, and as I was growing up, I would see her like on the weekends and stuff like that. And over time that became like less and less frequent, until like I was only seeing her like every few months. Mind you, I have lived in Brooklyn my entire life, and she's lived in New York City her entire life, my entire life. So she's either when I was younger, she lived in Brooklyn, not necessarily in Unity, but she also lived in Brooklyn, and she had a car, mind you. And then as I got older, she moved to like Queens. So like my teenage years, she was living in Queens, right? At first, when I was younger, I would say like she was pretty there-ish. But as I got into like my teenage years, like, or even like my middle school years, like going into high school, full deadbeat, like didn't provide much of anything, was never really around, would call a lot, but like didn't provide much of anything. So full on deadbeat. She stopped working when she had my little sister, so it's been about almost 20 years that she hasn't been working, which is fine, girl, you do you, but it's not fine that she is low-key like a scammer, and she's probably going to go to jail one day for her scamming activities, and that she's opening accounts and stuff like that in like my siblings' name. But anyway, so she's a scammer, deadbeat, whatever. And mind you, even like despite all of that, I still maintain a relationship with her. until 2022 when I cut her off for the first time because she was flaky as fuck. She would make plans and then she would flake on them like for the most random reasons. This is in addition to like me asking me for money a lot and all that good stuff and like, you know, never really supporting me. But like I was gonna let all that stuff go. But the flaking thing really got to me. So I ended up like just basically blocking her out of my life for like a year. In that entire year, I was living with my dad and my grandmother still. I was back to living with them. After I had moved away for a few years, I was back to living with them. And then for that entire year, my family harassed me to get back in contact with my mom. And my mom was harassing me and them for me to like get back in contact with her. So it was just a year of being harassed on all sides. And eventually like I caved and I got back in contact with my mom. And that lasted for like from like 2020, late 2023 until like beginning of 2026. So about 2 years until I eventually cut her off again because not for the flaking, but just because like, just all the things I said before. It's funny because it's just like, it's when you get older, deadbeat parents and bad parents, like they're still bad parents to you, but just because you're older and you don't depend on them as much, their behavior towards you changes in a way that's like quite disorienting because at the root you know that like what they did to you in the past and you know like they were not good parents to you in the past, but in the present they're attentive to you, they're there for you, they're offering you things, but deep down you know that none of it is substantial, and if push come to shove like they would just be the same person that they've always been. So that was disorienting for a while, I'm not gonna lie to you, because she would like suddenly offer to like bring me soup if I was sick, suddenly like ask to like hang out like quite often. So it was just like, it was disorienting to me, like because her behavior was totally different from how I grew up, and it was hard for me to reconcile the two differences. It took me like years for me to realize that like she's still the exact same person and she's a terrible mother to my little sister, but it took me years to like reconcile the fact like her from my childhood into her now, and realizing that like she is not going to change and that like having a relationship with her is just going to be to my detriment. So I ended up cutting her off at the beginning of this year. My grandma and my dad, they were like more insidious, but like actually like no, actually like not really. So after my dad and my mom broke up, I lived with my dad and my grandmother in Brooklyn, and that was fine-ish. My dad is Caribbean, Jamaican, and he's like the worst. Your worst stereotypes of a Caribbean man, that is my dad. And also my grandmother, like your worst stereotypes of a Caribbean woman, that is my grandmother. Just awful people. They did take care of me and make sure like I was fed and clothed. My dad worked a lot, and I did have a good relationship when I was younger-ish, but I would say over time he did become more deadbeat-ish as he started like dating other women, and like he ended up having another daughter. And then he eventually like moved out when I was like in high school-ish, and I would see him like less frequently, and getting financial support from him would become even harder. And as he would like have a bunch of excuses, like there would be like months, weeks where like he wouldn't pay like our cable bill, so like we wouldn't have anything to watch, and also we wouldn't have internet. And I remember after school going to McDonald's and sitting in McDonald's or like wherever for hours so I have Wi-Fi just to use the internet and be able to do my homework. And he was one of those parents where like he made sure you knew exactly what sacrifices he was making and like how much of a burden you are to him. If I needed money for like anything, like not even like just petty stuff, but like even things like, I say petty like as like I'm a freaking kid, like what the fuck, but like quote unquote petty stuff, even if it was like more serious things like school things or like personal things, like he would make a big fucking hoopla about it. Talk about all the bills he has to pay, yada yada yada. Mind you, he drives an expensive car. Mind you, he's supporting like a whole other family. Mind you, he's always wearing bling bling jewelry. So he was a terrible father. Like honestly, it took me a while to like realize that because like he was still like technically supporting me, but terrible father. I had gone to college and it was like pulling teeth to get him to like provide me any financial support. I needed money for laundry, pulling teeth. Like I needed money for school fees, pulling teeth. I ended up having to work like quite a few jobs in college just because like I needed to like get some sort of income. And so I don't have to deal with his nonsense. And of course my mom was useless. So that was that. In fact, it got to the point, it was actually so crazy because I remember when I was applying for college, I thought when when you're applying for FAFSA, I thought like, okay, I'm going to go to a state school, like I'm going to get financial aid and it's going to be chill, right? And the reason I thought that was because my entire life up to that point, my dad made it seem like he had no money. And he always made it seem like we were like $1 away from like living on the goddamn street. Until it was time to do the FAFSA and I had to put in his income and find out he made like almost 100K a year. Cause I think he was like working like 2 jobs or something like that. I don't know. But he made like almost 100K a year. So like I ended up getting very little financial aid. And I had to take private loans. It was a whole thing. I had to do like a whole thing to end up getting financial aid like for like the rest of my time in school. It was so bad to the point where actually like my first semester in school, I was this close to having to drop out because I didn't have money to pay tuition or to pay for like my housing. So that was difficult. But if you let my father tell it, he paid every single dime for me to go to school. If you let him tell it, he worked his ass off every single day to make sure I had everything I needed to go to school and college. And everything that came as a result from that, I owe to him. Meanwhile, if I could ask him right now how much he paid, how much he thinks my schooling cost, he wouldn't be able to tell you. If I were to tell you guys right now how much money that he contributed to me while I was in school, while I was in college for 3.5 years, I would say if I'm being generous, $1,000. If I'm being very generous, 3.5 years, $1,000. If I'm being incredibly generous, mind you, 3.5 years, I paid my tuition and housing per year was 20K. So we're at like what, 70K? That would be like about 70K. $1,000, $70,000. Right? Okay. But yeah, terrible father, incredibly misogynist. He would bully me. He was my first true bully. He bullied me for every single thing. He bullied me for my skin, the quality of my skin and the color of my skin. He bullied me for my nose, my lips, my weight, the way I talked, the way I walked, the way I dressed. He would say jokingly that like my mom must have like cheated and have another kid and basically had me from another man because like I didn't seem like I was his child. What else? One time when I was in 7th grade, I was eating waffles for breakfast, and we were sitting at the breakfast table, and I was using a knife and fork to cut the waffles, like as you do. And he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, why are you using a knife and fork to cut it?" And I'm like, "Because that's how I need to cut it." And he's like, "Oh, like no, don't be doing that gay shit. Like, if I find out you gay, I'm gonna throw you off the Brooklyn Bridge." And I'm like, "Whoa!" And then my grandmother's over there, and she's just laughing, ha ha ha, laughing. And I'm like, "Okay." Mind you, I'm in 7th grade, eating breakfast, eating waffles. And my dad is starting to throw me off a fucking bridge because I'm cutting my waffles off. So this is where, you know, things were, right? Mind you, that morning, that's the one I found out that he was having my little sister. And he didn't even tell us. He was just talking about it to my grandmother. And I was like, "You're having a kid?" And he was like, "Yeah." And like, he just, like, yeah, he's a major asshole. My grandmother, she was the most insidious because she actually did the most work of like raising us by my brother and I, because my brother and I lived with her. My brother is a whole other thing. My brother is, just to sum it up, my brother is the worst of my grandmother, my dad, and my mom put together into one bro. He is like the worst of them. So like, therefore they love him the most, right? My grandmother was the most insidious because she did take care of us, and I did feel really bad because my dad and my mom saddled her with like a lot of responsibility, which to her point fair, but she was also a real bitch. And I don't like to call women that. I really don't. But like, my grandmother was a bitch. And I didn't realize that until like this year when I finally cut her off and cut all of them off. She was a bitch. I get what position you're in, but like, we're kids. We are kids and our parents are deadbeats. You don't have to treat us like that. There was a point where my brother had moved out and he was doing his own god awful things, and I was living with her, and she was terrible to me. She had all these rules for me. She made me clean the bathroom every weekend, which was fine because like it's important to clean your bathroom, but ask me how many times she's made my brother clean the bathroom. Zero. Hint, maybe never. So it was like one of those situations. Like, I would say my relationship in my family unit, think of how it would be if, like, you know, you have like the daughter and like a son in a very misogynistic household, and I was like the daughter. That's essentially what that my relationship with my family was like. Doesn't help that like I was dark skinned and my brother's light skinned, my grandmother's light skinned, and my parents are both dark skinned, but all colorists as fuck. Doesn't help that like I had strong gay tendencies. So yeah, I had a lot of things. It doesn't help that like he was skinny, I was not skinny. I was quite chubby for most of my life. So yeah, but my grandmother, like, just by the time I got to high school, she was just full on bitch, like full on bitch. Like, in fact, the reason why I went away for college was because I had to get away from her, because it was just abusive. Like, she was abusive. Once I moved away, they had gotten better, and all of a sudden, like, it was like love, 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 love. But, and that was also again disorientating because for me, like, I remembered like what it was like like just a year ago, but like all of a sudden you're visiting me on campus and like you have so much pride for me, yada yada yada, and I was like, all right, save it. So yeah, that's the trifecta right there. Eventually I end up going to college, and that's fine. I make friends. I'm gonna split this actually into three parts. I'm gonna talk about my friend, I'm gonna talk about my family, and then I'm gonna talk about my friends, and then I'm gonna talk about like dating and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna go with family. Family, so like I graduate college, I move back in with my dad and my grandmother for a little bit. I move out, I go to Korea, I teach, I come back like a few years after COVID, and immediately back to just miserable like situation. Despite the fact that I was an adult living and I lived away from my family for like years at that point, went back to treating me like a child, went back to insulting me, went back to belittling me. My dad made it his mission every single day to make it known that he was the alpha male in the household. I lived with them for 5 years, and I finally moved out at the beginning of this year. But yeah, absolutely like terrible people. Absolutely terrible people. My brothers, the mother of my brother's children, they treated terribly. He was quite abusive to her, and they always took his side. Despite the fact that my mom and my grandmother were both single mothers, they always took the side of my like abusive brother, which is crazy. Yeah, so like it's just, I don't even think I have to really go much into it, because it's just like, I think I've already said enough. Like, if you just take like, because they were pretty run of the mill, like homophobic, abusive, misogynistic like people. Like, it really wasn't like anything like special or crazy. Like, go down to like the Raised by Narcissists subreddit or whatever, and like you'll get like a snapshot of like, no, yeah, that's them. They just have like a Caribbean twang on their like nastiness. But yeah, anyway, I ended up moving out of there at the beginning of this year, and I haven't spoken to them since. So good for me. To this day, it's in July. To this day, they're still asking like, oh, like, why don't I speak to them? I don't, like, they ask my siblings why I don't speak to them. They ask why I don't call for Mother's Day and Father's Day, whatever the fuck. Like, so yeah, that's done. That's clip. I will say though that one of the biggest thing that made me get to this point was I discovered this thing called CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and it arose because I was having so much difficulty like just in my life. And I had like really bad habits that I was doing, and I really wanted to get to the root of it. So it took me a lot of research, and I ended up finding the book CPTSD. Like that was the only book I ever read that like I cried multiple times reading it. And like mind you, it's like a psychological like book, and like I cried so many times reading it because like it was so relatable to me, and like I finally felt like, oh my god, like this is why this is happening. So yeah, it took me like it really helped me understand that like how like no, your parents did a number on you, and like they're terrible people. So I really recommend checking that book out. Anyway, that's enough of them. My friends. Throughout life, I've been pretty lucky to always have friends. But I say that and I kind of take it back because my friends have been like not great for most of my life now that I think about it. I'm just gonna fast forward until like last year when I had my closest friends. My closest friends were a friend from college, a friend from middle school, a friend like my group of high school friends, and then my group of friends that I made in college. Let's call the middle school friend, let's call him Kevin. Kevin was absolutely terrible. He actually used to bully me in middle school with like a bunch of other people, but like we ended up just going to like the same middle school, high school, college, and like I just couldn't shake him really, so like I ended up just like becoming like close friends with him. He was a weirdo to sum it up, like jealous, belittling. Actually, when we first were earlier in our friendship, he wasn't like that really. He was at worst immature. But as our time in high school and as our time in college like went by, and then it was just like us and adulthood as friends, he really started like digging his heels in like his immaturity, his jealousy, his nastiness, his rudeness. And it was just like he was just an awful person, like truly. Like he would belittle me every chance that he got. There were times where he was unemployed, I was unemployed. I was nothing but encouraging and supportive to him when he was unemployed because like I've been there before, and also like who cares about it? Who cares? Like whatever. When he finally got a job, I was very supportive of him. Yet when he was unemployed and I was employed, he found every chance to like belittle my job because I worked at Target, and he was like, oh, he like so, and like I had various jobs, but he would find any opportunity to like belittle my jobs and belittle me. He was quite racist in hindsight. Which it didn't occur to me that you can be racist but also be friends with the person that you're racist with. Like it's one of those things where like you hear about, but like being in it, like it's very disorienting as well. But yeah, terrible person. I ended up cutting him off at the middle of last year, just about a year ago actually, because he was just flaky, terrible, awful person, whatever. So that's done. Like whatever. And that was before like I really went on a journey of like self-discovery. That was just like I just cut him off because he was a terrible person. Then the next people I grew up I cut off was my high school friends. I didn't realize until reading CPTSD, the book, that your parents and your family structure, like how the relationships that you are used to growing up, is like the relationship template that you find as you get older, and like when you create new social connections. Like I understood that like in abstract. Like I understood that like people from abusive households end up getting in an abusive relationship. I understood that, but like my idea of abuse was quite different from like what I was actually experiencing, which in hindsight are the same. They're both abuse. I just didn't see what I was experiencing as abuse. But once I realized the dynamic of my family, it made it really clear that like my close high school friends were the exact mirror of my familiar relationships, to the sense where it's like I had someone who reminded me of my grandmother, I had someone who reminded me of my father, and I had someone who reminded me of my mother. And it's so funny because these friendships, I actually remember at one point I tried to get rid of them over time, like when I was like at some point in time in the past, but like they were just like quite clingy and quite persistent that like I was never really able to shake them. But like yeah, so like this high school group of friends, like once I realized that like I just basically found my family in them in like in a bad way, not like found family way, even though I thought they were my family, like genuinely. It turns out they were my family like in a bad way, which I guess in hindsight was the only family I know. Like the only sense of family I know is bad. Like that's my only way of like understanding family dynamics apparently. How that friendship came apart. Actually, like it it was one of those things where it's just like once you start like looking back in the past and like seeing things and like paying attention to things, how things were and how things are going now, everything just becomes so obvious in an instant where it's just like you can no longer even be friends with them. But like just classic things that like terrible friends would do, like belittle you, discourage you, insult you, boundary violations. They would say things to me that they would never say to each other. They would yell at me in ways that they would never yell at each other. And it's so funny because within this group, the guy, let's call him Tom, he was actually like a bit abusive emotionally to like my friend, let's call her Tina. He was abusive to Tina like a little bit, just in like the sense of like he would whenever she would like kind of reveal stuff about herself or about family, he would kind of throw it back in her face and like try to like extract information about her. And then another friend in our group, let's call her Tamara. Tamara and Tom dated. In fact, they actually just got married. But he was abusive to her as well. He would sort of belittle her. He would sort of like try to take credit for things. He would talk over her, yada, yada, yada. And the crazy thing is that like, I would always defend Tamara and Tina from him. I didn't see it as me defending them. I just saw it as me like, why would you say that? Or like, hey, stop acting like that. But the thing is like, I didn't realize that like my defending them, they were seeing it as like me, like that's the thing, I don't know, like I think for so long I tried to like understand. I think I thought I could understand these people, like my family and my friends, but like the thing is I can't understand them. Like we are not like the same people. Like we are like so fundamentally different. Like we have a lot of the same experiences, but like our wiring is so fundamentally different that like realizing now I cannot understand these people. Like they cannot understand me and I cannot understand them. But the thing is, I will try to understand them and I will always give them grace and I'll always have empathy for them. But they never tried to understand me and they never did that for me. They always assumed the worst for me. They always assumed that like I was someone that like needed to be guided or like I needed to be controlled. And so I guess in hindsight, me defending them, I don't know, maybe they thought, I truly couldn't even tell you what they thought of it. But I say a lot to say, I defended them, they never defended me. Yeah, that's basically it. I defended them, they never defended me. I'm not gonna lie, I was not always an angel. Like sometimes I might have said something that was a little bit like rude, but like never to like the extent of like what they said or what they did. Like I remember in our last interactions, Tina, she thought I was paying a bill for like at a restaurant, and Tina thought I tipped like an exorbitant amount of money, even though I didn't. She just misread something, and rather than like asking me, like double checking me, she screamed. She's like, "This idiot tipped all this money like in the restaurant." Like literally, mind you, we're like 27, 28, and this is how she's behaving in the restaurant, like just like trying to embarrass me or whatever, and like. But that's how she reacted, and like nobody called her out or anything like that. Like I didn't even like really get mad at her. I just like be like, yo, I didn't like relax. First of all, you don't have to scream, and I didn't actually do all this crazy tip. Like I actually tipped like an appropriate amount. And then when she finally saw, like she was like, oh okay, like whatever. And then so no apology. What else? So like that was like the most recent thing from her on her end. On Tamara's end, Tamara's just a bitch. Like Tamara's just straight up a fucking bitch, and like we can't like. I don't know why, like, we just tolerated it. Well, I mean, I know why they tolerated it, but I don't know why I tolerated it. Like, she was just constantly, like, low energy, constantly, like, just, like, didn't give a fuck about any of us. We had taken a trip to Iceland. We had taken our first group trip to Iceland. Mind you, I've known them since 2011, 2012, and the first time we were on a group trip was 2025. And I travel a lot, and I travel with other people. So the fact that that was our first group trip kind of tells you, like, our dynamics, and the fact that, like, hold up a second. Let me just finish telling the story. So on our group trip to Iceland, I'll back up a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit more about our dynamic. I'm someone who likes to, like, take the lead, take charge, not because, like, I want to control people, but just because, like, I care a lot. I care a lot about the things that I do. I care a lot about, like, the experiences that my friends have, and I want the best for everybody. So, like, I'm quite passionate about things. So, if there is, like, a plan to meet up or whatever, like, I'll try to be the one to give suggestions for restaurants. I'll try to be the one to give suggestions for things to do. And I don't mind having that role. What I do mind, and what I did mind with that group, was I would have a preference or a suggestion. And rather than listening to me because I was the only one who actually had a preference or suggestion, they would just always dismiss me, and they would always just, like, spew off, like, random ideas that, like, nobody really cared about. And it was just like, so you guys don't really care either way what we do, and I'm the one who actually cares, and I'm the one who's actually researching. So, like, why not just, like, let's just listen to what I'm saying and just let's go with that. Like, why do you need to, like, dismiss me? So that's something that, like, always happened. The times that they did listen to me, there were a few times where things were duds, but most of the time things were fine. But the few times that we did have duds and they listened to me, they would always hold it against me, and they'd be like, you're on strike 2, strike 3, whatever. Always hold it against me. When things were good, they just didn't acknowledge that, like, I did a good job in, like, choosing stuff, which I didn't need anyway, but, like, they chose bad stuff all the time, and nobody had the smoke for them. So it was just me. On our trip in Iceland, there was one point where, in Iceland, things close, like, early, of course. And I was like, okay, listen, guys, the supermarkets and stuff like that are going to close, like, around, like, 8 or so, like that. The sun doesn't go down until, like, fucking 1 o'clock in the morning. Let's take a break from, like, our excursions for a second. Let's just drive, like, the 20 minutes. Let's get some supermarket. Let's go to the supermarket so we can get some food for tonight, and we can get some breakfast in the morning. So, like, we can just, in the morning, be prepared. We don't have to, like, think about food. We're good to go. And we don't have to spend a lot of money. We're good to go. For some reason, that was unreasonable. Rather than doing that, they were like, oh, like, who cares? Like, we don't have to eat anything. Like, we don't have to eat dinner, whatever. It's not a big deal. And it's just like, huh? Like, we're almost 30. What do you mean we don't have to eat anything? We have to eat dinner. Like, huh? You don't care about, like, eating dinner, eating breakfast? And that's the thing, like, just, like, some people, like, fine, don't have the greatest appetite, but, like, what? They were giving me pushback, like I was being stupid for suggesting or for having the idea. Mind you, like, the plan, like, even if we did it, it would have taken no more than 45 minutes out of, like, our time, and we could have just continued to do our excursions because we were just seeing waterfalls and stuff like that. Those shits don't close, and, like, the sun wasn't setting for, like, another fucking 5-6 hours. So, like, it would have taken nothing. We could have gotten everything. We could have gotten food. We could have gotten this and still be able to see stuff. But, like, no, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to listen to me. And then Tamara had the fucking nerves to be like, oh, like, you don't, like, you can miss a meal, like, you'll be okay too. And nobody said anything. Nobody said anything to her. Like, nobody, like, so not only would, like, you guys just dismiss me, but, like, she insults me and nobody says anything to me. And what I'm trying to do is just make sure we have food. So that happened on the trip. And then also Tina and I were just going back and forth the entire trip because, like, she would kept saying that, like, I was taking bad photos of her. Mind you, I'm a great photographer. She kept saying that I was taking bad photos of her. I was like, girl, just because you think you look bad in the photos don't mean I'm taking a bad fucking photo, bro. Like, what the fuck you want me to do? So she was basically annoyed at me the entire trip because every photo I took for her was, like, the worst photo ever. And we were just constantly going back and forth the entire fucking trip over nonsense. Over fucking nonsense. Like, why am I getting pushback on every fucking thing for no reason? It's just like, I travel a lot. I've been on group trips. Like, I know how to choose Airbnbs. I know how to, like, why are you pushing back on me for things that, like, ultimately, like, don't matter, A, and B, like, I'm not steering you guys wrong. Like, why? And it was just, none of their, like, pushbacks amounted to being anything, like, substantial. Like, it was all just nonsense and bullshit. And what kind of, like, and it was funny because, like, by the first, like, day or two, I was like, yeah, I'm never going on a trip with these people ever again. Like, and I see why it took so long, because it's just, like, not only can we not agree on stuff, it's just that, like, you guys refuse to listen to me. You guys refuse to listen to the person the only person who actually cares about us, and the only person who cares about, like, the group experience. You guys refuse to listen to me for some fucking reason. Yeah, it was really not a good trip. Iceland was fine, and the sights were fine, and, like, we had good moments, but, like, in hindsight, it was not a good trip. Like, it was just toxic. And the weirdest part about it was that, like, when I had mentioned towards the end of the trip that, like, oh, like, I don't think we started really, like, I was like, apart from, because we were reflecting, I was like, apart from the beginning of the trip, but, like, we were arguing a lot, like, it was fine. And then they were just so confused that, like, I had said that, like, apparently, like, that back and forth that we were doing at the beginning of the trip, like, it didn't register to them as, like, unhealthy, as, like, things that you shouldn't be doing with friends, like, on a trip. Like, it didn't occur to them that, like, that was unpleasant, for me at least. Like, they just thought it was fine and just normal. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Yeah, honestly, what ended up being, like, the straw that broke the camel's back was after I learned about, like, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or CPTSD. Yeah, I realized that, like, I basically found, like, my toxic family relationship in them, and once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it, and I didn't change my behavior with them, like, immediately, or at all, actually. Like, I really didn't act any differently. What ended up being the straw that broke the camel's back was, my dad and my grandmother had invited my mom to stay over, like, randomly without telling me, and I really didn't want to interact with my mom. And this is before I cut my mom off. This was literally, like, me, just a timeline. I cut my high school friends off, and I cut my mom off, like, I think literally on the same day. Like, I think I cut my high school friends off on, like, New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or something. New Year's Eve. And then I cut my mom off, like, a New Year's Day. But how that happened was, yeah, they had invited my mom over without telling me, and I didn't want to see my mom. And that same day, my friends and I had plans to hang out in Long Island, and I was like, listen, guys, like, they're inviting my mom over suddenly. Can we move our hangout locally? Can we just do it in the city? Because I'm going to try to, I worked at Van Leeuwen at the time. I told them I was going to try to pick up a shift for tonight so I can get home late. So when I get home, like, everybody's asleep and I don't have to interrupt my mom. They were like, oh, like, why don't you hang out with another group of friends after we hang out? Like, yada, yada, yada. We have a reservation, yada, yada. And I'm like, because we're going to be done hanging out, like, around 8, 9, 10 o'clock-ish. And, like, no one's going to be able to, like, hang out at that hour. And they're like, oh, but, like, one of my, what was his name? What did I call him? Tom was like, oh, but I made that reservation already. You're going to pay me back for the reservation? I was like, yeah, whatever. And then he was like, it was $25. So I sent him $25. I was like, okay, whatever. And they were just being so they were just being so weird about it. Like, I knew, because mind you, we were supposed to have hung out, like, weeks before, but literally every single one of them, something had come up for them, and we had ended up rescheduling it. So now that it was my turn for something to come up, I was getting all of this, like, pushback, and I was getting, like, all of this, like, oh, like, why don't you suck it up, yada, yada, why don't you find something else to do? I was like, I didn't do like this. I didn't do this to you guys. I didn't say this to you guys. When you guys have stuff coming up, I was like, okay, fine, no problem. Like, what the fuck? Like, when something is coming up for me, and you know my relationship with my mom, my family, like, you guys are treating me like this. And because Tom was gonna pick us up, and we were trying to, like, find new things to do. Well, I was trying to find new things to do, and I had given a suggestion. I was like, listen, I'm craving burgers. So, like, do you guys want to, like, get to a burger spot? And then there's like this place we can do like activities from there, like it's nearby, like so we can still, because the thing is I wasn't canceling on them, I was just like, can we just move it like more locally, so if I can pick up shifts tonight, I'm able to be in the city and I can able to go to the shift like later on tonight. So I wasn't even canceling on them. And so I had given a suggestion, and like they again just completely ignored my suggestion, and they just kept throwing out like random things that nobody cared about, and I was like, okay. And yeah, so I'm just like, they're just going on like ignoring what I'm saying, and meanwhile I'm like fucking just like so upset right now because like of like this whole situation with my mom, and like low-key I don't even want to see anybody, I just want to be to myself, like I just want to go somewhere and be to myself. I was this close to like renting a hotel just so I can be away from everybody, but like I didn't want to like cancel, I didn't want to like do that. And so my payment for like trying to be like consistent and not canceling these people were them to just like dismiss me and to just like ignore me. And it got to a point where it's just like, you know what guys, like it's, you know what, you guys hang out by yourself, like I'll find something else to do tonight, you guys hang out by yourself, because like I don't even have the bandwidth to deal with this shit anymore, because just like you guys are being so fucking weird right now. And Tia was like, what did I call her? Tina was like, oh, like none of us have the bandwidth, like whatever, just deal with it. And I was just like, you know what, chop, it's done. Like if your friend is telling you that like he's like very overwhelmed right now, and you guys are doing everything in your power to make him more stressed out like that, and then he's finally telling you that he's like kind of had it, and then you just be like, oh, we all had, like it was whatever, just ignore it. It's just like, how much of a bitch do you have to be for that? Like it's just so crazy to me, because the thing is they would never say that to each other, and I would never say that to any of them, but like when it came to me, they just thought it was so fine for them to keep dismissing me. And like even Tom was like, oh, like stop being a little bitch, yada 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 yada, and it's just like, what the fuck. So yeah, I ended up just like canceling on them, and then they still came to like my neighborhood, and they were driving around to, I guess, like catch me or whatever if I go outside, and I was able to, and I knew this was because we shared each other's location, and I saw them like fucking circle around my apartment like goddamn sharks. And then I got to the point where I was just like, listen guys, like I told you guys I'm not trying to see you guys tonight, like I'm not in a mood right now, like so stop fucking stalking me and just go about your business somewhere else, and like I'll go about my day, like, and like let's dead it, like stop this. And then they kept trying to convince me, like, oh, come down to me, let's talk. I was like, no, stop it. So eventually they got the hit, and like they went away, and I found something else to do that night. And then after that, like maybe a few days or whatever after that, I ended up like leaving the chat, and then they were trying to get in contact with me. Tom was like saying all this like nonsense about like, oh, like when are you coming back, yada yada, when are you gonna hang out? Like he would used to like message me like every now and then, be like, oh, like are you gonna ever hang out with like us again, yada yada yada. Mind you, never an apology, never an acknowledgement or whatever, just like these weird like fucking like weird, sending like a weird meme being like, oh, like when you missed the bro, yada yada. And it's just like, what the fuck. I've been your friend for like what, 15 years at this point, and like this is like how you try to like salvage the friendship. Tamara of course doesn't say anything to me, and then Tina, they were calling me or whatever, and like I eventually got back to Tina, and I wasn't going to reply, but I was like, you know what, like I've been friends with these people for a long time, let me at the very least like tell them what is going on and tell them why I am no longer like in group with them, because I had also removed them from Instagram, I unfollowed them and all that stuff like that, like I was dead serious. And so I was breaking everything down and explaining, and the entire time she just kept gaslighting me. She kept like just like changing the subject. She kept just being like, oh, like okay, I get it, but you don't have to unfollow us, yada yada yada. You don't have to do this, you have to do that. And I'm just like, girl, like you are not even acknowledging the stuff that I'm saying to you and like the genuine problems that I'm having, and you're just finding fault in like the way I lashed out at you guys, rather than like let's actually talking about like the root of the issue, which is like your guys' continued disrespect of me. And like so it was just back and forth, and I got to the point where it's like, you know what, like done, like I don't this is done, like. And I never spoke to them again from there. That was at the beginning of this year, so I haven't spoken to them since then. What else? So what inspired this video was actually this morning. I'm hopping around to find out where I'm going to move to, and like I'm in like whatever, and my college friends, like they're the ones who like I've been like actually closest to for like a while, and so they've been like sort of like I've been keeping them updated on like my journey or whatever because we have like a group chat, yada yada yada. And mind you, like in hindsight, like that's not even, that group of friends is actually not even a great group of friends. Like inconsistent. Like there's maybe one or two in them that like are actually like legitimately good friends, but everybody else is like whatever. Like individually friends, yes, good, but like as a group, no. Like as a group, no. But yeah, I'm like, you know, we still keep in contact. We all like each other, yada yada. We all hang out, whatever. Like it's not a big deal. So on my journey of like leaving New York and like finding a place to live, like of course I know that like my abrupt actions can come off as like kind of like crazy or whatever and like unprepared, which is fair. But like I'm not asking you guys for anything like that. I'm not asking you guys for money or to board me. All I'm asking for really is just like you guys be my friends. Like be people who I can speak to. Like, cause the thing is, I do so much work for that friend group as well. Like I plan like me and like other friend, we plan the hangouts, we plan the trips. I talk to them if they have issues. Like I give them advice. Like I'm literally like, I'm literally such a good fucking friend to like all of my friends, and most of them do not reciprocate it, and like it doesn't bother me because it's just like I like them and I'm okay with putting in effort to be the friend. And it just irritates me so fucking much looking back on it. It was just like all I ask from you, for my friends, is to just have respect for me, I guess, and to like just be normal people and respect me. And like I can't even get that. Like, and it's just so crazy. What was the straw that broke the camel's back today was because in this friend group we have one of our particular friends. He is jealous, insecure, all of that. Like he's very inconsistent with us. He doesn't even hang out with us like that. And he's been like this for like a while now. Everybody knows that he's like a problem, that he's toxic, and he gets kicked out of his other friend groups or whatever, but like he's still friends with us, whatever. And like he's cool most of the time, so like it doesn't really bother me, whatever. So but on this journey, like of my journey, like hopping around places and like trying to find what works for me, he's just been so negative and so like discouraging and so worried about me. Meanwhile, like he hasn't seen us in like years at this point, like well over like 2 years. Like you're so worried, but like you don't even come to our hangouts, whatever. Like you're mad weird. And it got to a point where it's just like I had to like call him out on it. I had to be like, listen, like if you're not going to like be encouraging, if you're not going to be supportive, whatever, be the, like because I'm showing them like my business ventures. I'm sharing things that I'm doing right now. I'm keeping them in the loop because I like to get feedback. I like to show them to like you know, just friends, like just what you do when you have friends, like what I'm doing. And he's always just constantly negative about it. And today, and I called him out already, and I told him like how I'm feeling, and he kind of was dismissive about it. And I was like, you know what, whatever. Like I don't need to be your friends. I'm still friends with the group, and I understand that they're friends with you, and it's not my job to tell them to stop being friends with you, but I'm just not going to be friends with you. But we're going to still be in the same group, whatever, because like, you know, whatever. But today, one of my friends and I are talking in the chat, and he chimes in and is just being so negative again. Just like saying all like these like negative things, like making all these like weird assumptions, telling me like what I should be doing. And at that point, like I just kick him out the chat, and I'm just like, you know what, guys, like I've had it with him. Like he's just so irritating. Like you guys can add him back if you want, but like I'm kicking him out the chat. And rather than like try to empathize with me, or rather than try to like, because the last time I called him out, nobody said anything like that. Like fucking mum was the word. Nobody said anything. Nobody ever defends me. Nobody ever says anything when I call somebody out. Whatever. But rather than that, like they're like, oh yeah, like we have to just add him back. Like you guys like just try to be peaceful, like, you know, like whatever. Just so cavalier, so casual about it. And I'm just like, and I was fine with it at first when they added him back. Because when they added him back, he was like, oh, like, what did I do wrong? Like, that was mean. Like, yeah, like, that was mean. Like, you didn't have to do that. And I didn't even say anything because, like, that. I was like, you know what? Like, fine. If they want to be friends with him, they can be friends with him, whatever. He's not, they all know that he's not a good friend. So it's just like, whatever. And I kept thinking about it. And it kept, like, irritating me more and more and more and more thinking about it. Because I was just like, you guys let him say whatever he wants to me. And the thing is, like I said, I'm no angel. Like, I defend myself and I have a way with my words when I want to. So like it's not like I need people to defend me constantly, but it's just like you guys want to keep the peace and keep the friendship in the group so bad, but like you guys never like really call out anything that like happens. And it's so like weird and irritating to me because it's just like I would never do that to you guys. I would never let somebody talk bad about you like that and not defend you. I would never like, even if you're not talking about like me or someone in the group, like I'm gonna tell you like, hey, like stop talking like that. Like that's not appropriate. That's not right. Like that's what I'm going to do. So it's just like to see people like not take my side, especially like not that like they owe me anything like that because I do so much for the group because nobody asked me to. This is just something like I do because I enjoy being friends with them. But like to see that like I put in so much effort into this friend group and that like they view my membership in the friend group the same way they view his membership in the friend group, despite the fact that he's toxic, despite the fact that he disrespects me constantly. And it's just like, you guys don't see anything wrong with his behavior. You guys don't call him his behavior out. You don't like try to like bring everybody to the table and be like, okay guys, like you guys don't do any of that. And it started making me like really like think about the fact that I'm like, so the fact that like this stuff doesn't bother you, you either think that like he's not someone to be taken seriously and like who cares what he says, which is like fair enough, but like we're friends with him, so it's just like kind of like that's sort of like a weird friendship to have where like you don't take your friend seriously, whatever. B, you think that he's doing it out of like care and like caring consideration, which I don't know how that's possible, because it's just like I'm not asking you for advice. I'm just sharing what's going on because you're asking me what's going on. I'm just sharing with you. So it's just like, and like I said before, he doesn't even hang out with us. So it's just like, how much does he really care about us? Or like the third option is that like you think what he's saying is okay because you agree with it to some extent. You agree that like you agree with what he's saying. You agree that like for some reason like I need to be humbled, or like I need to be controlled, or I need to be like reined in, or like you have all these assumptions about me that he has. It's any of those three, and none of them are great. Like, and it just made me sit and wonder. I'm like, I don't have to deal with this. Like, I cut off my family, the people who like raised me, because I didn't feel like I should tolerate disrespect. I left jobs because I didn't feel like I should tolerate disrespect. I cut off friendships and stuff like that because I didn't feel like tolerating disrespect. And like, why is this any different? Why do I have to tolerate disrespect like this? Like, I love you guys, you are my friends, but like, I don't have to tolerate this. And it's not, and you shouldn't expect me to tolerate it. And it's just like, and it just got to that point where it's just like, and the thing is, he's only truly like that with me. Like, he's not great to everybody else. No, he's fine with everybody else. He's a weird in general, but like, he's like the most negative when it comes to me. And he always has been. That's always been the relationship. And I've realized that like, you know what? I'm going through changes in my life, and I'm realizing like what I can tolerate and what I cannot tolerate. I can't make them see what disrespect is, and like I can't make them draw like their own lines. I just have to draw my own line. And it got to the point where I'm like, okay, there are three things that are true. The first thing that is true is that he is disrespecting me, and he is constantly disrespecting me, despite the fact that I called him out on it. The second thing that is true is that push comes to shove, you guys are not abandoning him, and you guys are going to keep him in the group because they added him back to the group. So you guys are going to like always keep him inside the group. And the fact that like he knows that you guys are always going to keep him in the group gives him more power for him to do and say whatever he wants, because nobody's going to kick him out. So he can do and say whatever he wants, and like I just have to deal with it, right? And then the third thing that is true is that I'm not tolerating disrespect. So one thing is that he's going to disrespect me. That's true. The second thing is that like you guys are not going to stop him or like draw a line in the sand and like you're going to let him do it. The third thing that's true is that I'm not tolerating disrespect. So what I finally had to realize that like I just need to leave this group because for all of those reasons, I need to remove myself from the situation. If nobody is going to like stand up for me or defend me or draw a line, I have to be the one to do it, period. We're all adults. I can't tell you to not be friends with him. All I know is I don't want to be friends with him. And if me being a part of the group means that I have to tolerate disrespect every day, then I don't need to be a part of the group. I'll see you guys individually if I'm in the round or whatever, or I'll talk to you guys, but like I don't need to be a part of the group because nobody has to tolerate that disrespect. Like, period. So that's where I'm at. So that's where I'm at today. Yeah. So that's as far as friendships goes. As far as dating, like, whoa, like, it took me a while. Like, I struggled a lot with like feelings of like limerence, which is basically like obsessive crushing or whatever. And it took me learning about like my CPTSD and like learning a lot about myself and like doing a lot of reading to see that like all of my crushes in the past were the result of like basically trauma, and how like it wasn't that I really wanted to like date these people or be romantic with these people or anything like that. It was just trauma. Like I realized that like a lot of the guys I was attracted to for my entire life were people who reminded me of my father, people who were inconsistent, people who they didn't necessarily belittle me, but like I never really knew how they felt about me. I was always like kind of like chasing after their attention and approval. They never really showed like interest in me like that. Like I would do a lot of work to like learn about them and like take part of their interest and like kind of be good friends with them, but like they never really did like the work to learn about me or to take interest in me. And yeah, like emotionally unavailable, all of that stuff. So that has been my dating life for like literally my entire life. Like, and it took me just now, once I realized that at the beginning of this year, all of like the crushes that like I currently had at that moment just ceased. Once I realized I was chasing that in like my crushes, like it just ceased. It just dried up entirely. Like the people that I was chasing after, and that second I realized, oh, I don't really want you after all, because me wanting you is a sign of like you being bad for me. And that was really like something like crazy to like realize, that like the thing that you're chasing after are things that are is something that's bad for you. And I realized, and it made me, I realized that with my friends, that like the friendships and like the friendship type that I was chasing, that I was having, were bad for me because that's all I knew. My dating, the people who I was chasing were bad for me because that's all I knew. And yeah, so I mean I could go through like my crushes, but like that won't be relevant because it's just, yeah, it's just that like it's just been that. And at this point in my life, this past year has been really like transformative for me, and I've learned a lot about myself. I've gotten like really in touch with like spirituality and stuff like that, and like all that good stuff. And I'm realizing that like for me to live the life that I want to live and that I need to live for my happiness, like I just have to keep pressing forward. I cannot hold on to like attachments that don't serve me. I can't hold on to attachments that are born out of trauma. I can't hold on to attachments just because I'm afraid of like what life would be like if I lost them. Like it's just, I can't. Like it's, like I said at the top of the video, like there is no amount of work that I can do to make people treat me like I should be treated, which is with human respect and decency. I always felt like I was asking too much when I was like when I had standards, but now I see like it's not that I'm asking for too much, it's that like many people are incomplete human beings, including myself, but like many people are like so far like behind on being like a complete human being that like they're incapable of treating other human beings properly, because they have not worked through like their traumas and like their stuff. So, yeah. And on top of that, I am just someone who attracts like that kind of person, I guess, because of like, I guess, my history and because of my own trauma. Like, I'm someone that's easy to like latch onto. Because I guess, like, because I, not I guess, I have been a big people pleaser, and it's been very hard for me to establish boundaries. In fact, it's so funny because I remember I had one coworker, and we had like a pretty good like relationship, like not like a dating relationship, like just like good coworker relationship, and we got close pretty quickly. And it took me a while to realize that like I ended up having to cut her off while we were still coworkers because she was growing so attached and so codependent on me, and it was just so weird. And like it took me a while to realize that like she is literally like my mother. She reminds me so much of my mother, and it's quite telling that the person who reminds me that much of my mother, I would cut off like that. I felt like it was important for me to cut them off immediately because like their attachment to me was unhealthy. So realizing that was like a really big wake up call that like if I encountered these people as an adult, I would want nothing to do with them. So why is the fact that like I've known them my entire life, like why does that make me feel like I should be attached to them still? Yeah. So that's what it's been like for like the past year. Yeah. I mean, it's difficult. Like, okay, I'll throw myself a pity party because I know like I've read that throwing yourself a pity party is important. Like you have to acknowledge like stuff, good and bad. So I'm gonna throw myself a pity party. Nobody should have to deal with this. Everybody deserves good friends, good family, good relationships, all that good stuff. Like, nobody should have to feel like they have to keep cutting off like their lifelong friends because they're developing standards and they're developing boundaries and self-respect, and like it's turning out that like the people in their life do not want to like respect that. Like, and it's just like, what am I supposed to do? What like what am I supposed to do if I'm living a life right now where like I'm trying to be like ambitious, go for my goals, do everything that I want to do in my life, like have like the dream life. Like, I need to dream big, I need to shoot for the stars, and I need to have the toughest skin possible. I need to become resilient. I need to have boundaries. I need to have so many things to prepare me for like this life that I want to live. I cannot tolerate disrespect. I cannot tolerate people undermining me. I cannot tolerate people trying to control me. I cannot tolerate people thinking they know better than I do about my own life. I cannot tolerate people who are not doing effort in their own lives to live their own dreams, telling me what they feel like I should be doing. Like, I can't tolerate making myself smaller and making my goals smaller because I'm afraid that other people will be insecure or that other people will like be jealous or like they won't be as encouraging to me as they should be. Because the truth is at the end of the day, when I share my endeavors with my friends, like my social media page and stuff like that, even if they're not super interested in it, or even if they don't super see the vision, they should follow it. They should try to keep up with my content. They should engage with me. They should ask me questions. This is not asking a lot. This is what I would do with a friend, and this is what like friends should do with each other. This is what people should take interest with each other. People should have friendships with each other. Like, I had to realize that like bad friends are worse than no friends at all. Friends that you cannot like trust, friends that you can't be vulnerable with, friends that you can't feel like they have your back, friends that don't support you when you're going on the like limbs. Like, these people are bad for you. These people, like, not, they're not all equally bad for you. They're not all like equally abusive, whatever. But like, it's just, they're bad for you nonetheless. Because the thing is, like, when you tolerate that stuff, you subconsciously think that, like, okay, this is what is acceptable for me. And the thing is, it's not. It's not acceptable. Like, it's. I have yet to see it. I have yet to see, like, really good friendships, both like outside of me and like within my like relationships and like really good family relationships. I have yet to like really see it. Like friendships and relationships that like I feel like they have my back constantly, that like they're always supporting me, like it feels like a reciprocal relationship. Like even like the people who I feel like are like super close to me, like there are some times where like I think like I get everybody has like their own life and their own struggles, but there are times when I'm like, I don't think if I were in your position, I would be a friend in the way that you're being. In the sense that like I would do more probably, or like I would speak up more, or I would defend more. Like I get everybody has like their own like struggles and their own like stuff that they have to deal with, but like I realize that like reciprocity is not something that like I don't know. Like it's hard. It's really hard because just like at a point it's like, am I being unreasonable or whatever? But it's just like, I don't think I'm being unreasonable. Like, I mean, I can do it. Like, I can be a good friend. I can be encouraging. I can ask you questions. I can help you with stuff. So like, I can defend you. So why is this so hard? Why is this so hard? And I think at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. I think it comes down to like in me in this new journey of life, in this phase of my life, I need to just find a world and find people who are more aligned with like what I think is like right, or what I think is valuable in a friendship or like any kind of relationship at the end of the day. Like, other than like my family, I don't really hold super duper strong will towards anybody I've talked about in this video. Because at the end of the day, I accept that it really probably isn't personal. It's like their own insecurities and their own things that they're dealing with. So that I accept. So that's actually why it's getting easier for me to like just drop relationships, because yeah, like people would be like, you're dropping friendships too much. Like you need to learn how to like, I don't know, like you're going to be alone one day. You're not going to have any friends or something like that one day. You need to learn how to like, maintain friendships. You need to learn how to like have friends and all that stuff. And the thing is, I agree to an extent. Like I agree that like meeting people where they are is important. Compromise is important. But I agree. My thing is right now where I'm at is that like, I agree fully. I'm going to meet people exactly where they're at. If they are good in this way, good in that way, good in this way, but they are not good in this way, or that way, or like at least not up to like what I think, what I want to be around with, or what I want to surround myself with. If they are not up to par in like those ways, I'm going to meet you where you are, and I'm just going to like leave it there and let it be that. Like it's not personal. I have no desire to change you. I don't think you're an evil person. I don't think you're like a terrible demon, whatever. It's just that like we are just not aligned. I have a certain way that like I would like to live my life, and I want people around me that like sort of like kind of mirror me and like kind of give me something to aspire to. And you simply are not doing that for me. anymore, or in general. So therefore, like, no hard feelings. We're just gonna have to go our separate ways for now. And I think it's just going to have to be that, because yeah, like, and that's it. Like, it's really not that deep. Like, I've realized, because I realized in doing that, like, that is really like accepting people. I'm not trying to change people. I'm not trying to like judge them. I'm accepting you for who you are, and I'm accepting myself for who I am. I am who I am, and I accept you are who you are, and I don't want you to change me, and I have no desire to try to change you. So rather than like trying to fit like a square peg in a round hole, like, let's just go our other ways and find people who are more aligned with us. It's not fair to me to be uncomfortable with our friendship, and it's not fair to you to feel like to feel uncomfortable in our relationship as well, like, if that makes sense. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, like, I mean, honestly, at this point, like, I'm just over it. Like, truly, I had a fear that there would become a day where like I would get the things that I want, and like I wanted people who have been in my life for a long time to be there with me, but it's seeming like that is happening less and less and less and less. And it was something that I've been running away from, and I've been trying to like suppress that from happening, but I can't control it. And it is what it is. Like, if I get to like where I want to go, and like as I go along my journey and I lose people, then so fucking be it. Like, so be it. People are in your life for a season, whatever the fuck the saying is. People don't gotta be in your life forever. So fucking be it. Like, at this point, like, I'm over it. Like, I've had enough of the drama. I've had enough of like the just everything, that like it's not worth it anymore. It's not worth it anymore. Like, nobody cares about you more than you care about yourself, or nobody should care about you more than you care about yourself. And that's it. Like, that's where I'm at right now. Whoever is aligned with me and may find me and become in my friends or like relationship, whatever, like, that's how it'll be. And whoever is not, just won't. And like, that's how it'll be. And that'll be that. That will be that, and that's that. Whatever. Like, you know what I say? I always tell myself that in 3 months, none of this will matter. None of this will matter. When I'm at a job that I don't like, or somebody says something to me I don't like, or I'm doing something I don't like, I say to myself now, in 3 months, none of this will matter. And that's what I'm going to tell myself right now. In 3 months, none of this will matter. In 3 months, I will not give a fuck. And yeah. So anyway, I'm going to end the video on that. Like, I've run out of storage quite a few times. Like, my battery's at 3%. I didn't mean for this video to be so long, but like, this is like the first time where like where I'm speaking candidly about like everything in my life and everyone in my life, and I'm trying to not hold back anymore, and I'm just trying to like give it the raw and the real, because it's time. Like, it's time. Yeah, so this was therapeutic for me. And honestly, I hope you guys I don't hope you guys relate to it, but like, if you click on the video, then maybe you relate to it. I don't know. But like, I hope you guys just take something from what I'm saying. Like, of course, you're going to have to like learn things from yourself and like have your own experiences and stuff like that. But like, just heed what I'm saying to you. Like, if any of my experiences sound relatable to you, spoiler alert, like, yeah, that relationship probably isn't good for you. Yeah. And the thing is, I'm not even going to say like probably it's not good for you. Like, I am at the point right now where like I've lived long enough and I've seen so many different peoples and like so many different patterns and stuff like that. And I can see right now how like things go where they go. Like, there are patterns for a reason. It is so rare that you have a friend that belittles you, or like that like shows jealousy or envy towards you, and eventually they just stop doing that, or they become like a great friend to you, unless something dramatic happens to them. It's so rare that happens. More likely, what happens is that like you just share less with them, or you see them less, or like you just get over that kind of feeling like annoyed at them. But like rarely does their behavior change or their actions change. So I'm telling you guys, ask yourself, is it worth it? Ask yourself, is it worth it? Ask yourself genuinely. All right, I'm ending this video on my phone because like my shit's at 2%. Like I can't clear nothing else from my storage. Ask yourself genuinely, do you see this person changing? If they don't change, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And if they don't change and you're uncomfortable with what your life may look like without them, you need to do some work. You should never be that attached to somebody, period, but much less somebody who like is toxic towards you. If you cannot detach from someone who is toxic towards you and trust that like you'll be good at the end of the day, you need to do some work, because that's not healthy. Let me tell you that's not healthy. Like I'm not sugarcoating nothing. Like trust me, you don't got to go through it yourself. I lived my life long enough. I've had enough experience long enough. Listen to what the fuck I'm saying to you. But anyway, I'm ending the video here. Like I'm hungry as fuck. Like it's 5. Like I'm hungry as fuck. I'm ending the video. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you guys had similar experience down below. Let me know what you guys thought about it down below. And yeah, we'll get through it. We'll all get through it. It'll all be fine. Fuck 3 months. In 30 seconds, none of this shit is gonna matter. All right, bye guys.